Hey everyone, it's your favorite mindset coach, Marissa. And today's conversation is one I am absolutely in love with. I feel like it's one that I think every teacher needs right now. And even if you're not a teacher, but you've been contemplating adding a little bit of meditation into your routine, then please stay around and, listen to what Aaron has to say because we are diving into mindfulness, meditation, and what it actually looks like to feel calmer and more present, even in the midst of a chaotic life. So today I am joined by Aaron Hendon. He is a mindfulness teacher, entrepreneur, leader of the Mindful CEO, and author of How to Live a Grateful Life in an Effed Up World, which is a program he designed to help people stop worrying and start actually enjoying their lives without pretending everything is perfect. And what I really loved about Aaron's approach is that it isn't about sitting on a cushion for hours or clearing your mind. It's actually practical, simple shifts, things you can do in real life, even on your busiest days. And just in case you aren't sure where to start, I created a little cheat sheet for you of my top three 10-minute meditations for different categories. So there's a whole bunch of categories, and then in each category, I've put the top three, well, my top three anyway, meditations. They're all 10 minutes, very manageable. Remember that if you need to start with less than that, you want to start with 5 minutes, just search 5-minute meditations and they will definitely come up. Or you can search 15 or 20, of course, as well. So basically, some of the categories include like grounding or calming your anxiety, that sort of thing. So please check the show notes for all of the links. Okay, let's do it. If you have ever thought, I don't have time for meditation or it just doesn't work for me, but I really wish I could add it into my routine, this is the episode for you. Let's get into it. Aaron, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast and channel today. I'm so excited to have you here.
It's Marissa, I really appreciate being invited and thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. So let's get into it. I really want to start because even though I know how much meditation has changed my life personally, I also know that
Mhm.
a lot of the listeners, especially teachers, are likely saying to themselves, well, okay, this sounds great, but I don't have a lot of time for meditation. And I
Right.
really want you to share your story with us because speaking to the person out there who has maybe never tried it or then tried it and was like, okay, this isn't for me. What were your original thoughts around meditation and sort of what was your turning point to actually start making it a habit?
Uh, okay, well, let's see. I started meditating when I was probably in my early 20s. So 40 plus years, which just seems not right because I'm still 20 in my head. But okay. But that's how time works. Anyway, so yeah, so I've been meditating on and off, which really means mostly off, and through my life. And then through a series of events that happened about 3 years ago. Um, I so what happened was I was at a retreat with my wife. I was at a yoga retreat in Napa, California. Beautiful. I love my wife. She's my best friend. Married 28 years. I don't have anyone I like better to be with than her. And I'm in this great retreat with her. And my kids are both grown and they're healthy and they speak to me. They're just great people.
Yeah.
And my business is doing well. I'm a real estate broker and I had 5 deals in escrow at that time. But I noticed that I was really worried. I noticed that I had the Jaws music in the background.
Right.
Right?
Got
And
you.
I had tension in my chest and I thought, this experience of worry is really inconsistent with my circumstances. You know, like
Yeah.
this is like not right. This is not, I don't need to live this way. This is not okay. And And I realized that in that moment that I was playing a game called Get Enough, really common for an entrepreneur, for people like to uh, get enough. If I had enough, I wouldn't be worried. That was sort of the background. And saying it out loud to myself then and saying it now, it's a silly game. I mean, you can't win that game. There's no enough. You
Yep,
Where's
absolutely.
enough? There's right. We see all evidence of there's never enough. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to play that game anymore. What game could I play? And I thought, like, if I could play the game called having agency over my attention, where I put my attention. So it doesn't have to go scrambling for catastrophizing with everything that goes wrong. That would be really useful, agency of my attention. And I realized that that's what meditation really is for. And so I revivified my meditation practice. And in doing that and in getting myself engaged, like, oh, can I actually control my attention? Um, I realized I could, and I did, and the worry went away, and I trained my team in it, and they increased their sales by more than double, and I've been training people in it now for about 2 years, and uh, it's really reliable for producing the result. And I realized, Marissa, why I reached out to you and why we're connecting here, as a mindset coach, um, everyone talks about mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Every coach in the world talks about how an empowering mindset works, and you need to stay positive. And at best, there's gratitude journals, or there's toxic positivity, or there's just, there's an enormous amount of shame associated now with if you don't feel positive. Um, but there's very few people giving the recipe for, okay, here, do these things, and you will be able actually to have the kind of mindset you want. Do these things, and the things you do are called meditation. That's how you do that. And this isn't. Um, it's as reliable and it's really important for people to understand. This is as reliable as weightlifting is to muscle building, or cardio exercise is to cardiovascular health. Meditation is to mindset. It's not, well, let's see if it works for me. Well, let's just do this and I'll just lift weights and see if it works for you. No, no, no. If you lift the weights the way they're designed to be lifted, you will improve your physical
Right.
muscle
It's a
structure.
definite.
It's a definite. It's a 1 + 1 = 2 thing. And meditation is exactly like that for your mindset. But it's widely misunderstood. Anyway, and we can get into all the pitfalls and all the ways it's misunderstood, but that's sort of my origin story here. It's like, oh, I revivified it because I got tired of the Jaws music, and now I train people in it. Now I'm an evangelist for meditation.
So, with regards to your experience and the experience of the people you've trained, right? What would you say are some of the other benefits? Because you've obviously touched on the fact that, well, your worry, which I would associate
Mhm.
with sort of anxiety, kind of went
Yes.
away. What else would be some of the benefits that you've noticed in having a regular meditation practice? And really, like, would you say 5 minutes would be enough? I mean, I'm usually about 15 to 20 minutes, but
Mhm.
I mean, I've heard that 5 minutes is also okay. What's your sweet
Mhm.
spot in terms of time? So I guess I
Yeah,
got two questions there. Yeah, like what
sure.
what are the benefits, and then what
How long
time
do you
frame
need
do
to
you
do it?
recommend?
Yeah. So the benefits include, the benefits are everything that's associated with just being present. So
Okay.
being responding versus reacting, being having access to gratitude on demand versus, when the universe deems it, beautiful sunset, easy to feel gratitude. Something great happens, easy to feel gratitude. But
Right.
where's the gratitude on Monday morning? Where's the gratitude when you have a flat tire? Where's the gratitude when life hands you the stuff life hands you? Because meditation doesn't make life stop lifing,
Yes.
right? It's going to continue to do the things it does, but it does give you a way to hold it all in a way that leaves you satisfied, joyful, fulfilled. And it's those things actually that are responsible for the are partly responsible for the improvement in your performance.
Right.
I'm thinking about the teachers you coach and the teachers you work with. They're out to contribute. No one gets into that field for the money, right? No one's like, yeah, there's my path. It's
Yeah.
all about contribution. It's all a heart of service. It's all the opportunity to contribute and make a difference. And keeping the opportunity to keep that experience in the foreground as opposed to get run by the way fundamentally education is treated across the planet.
Hmm.
The disrespect or the yeah, the inequity,
Yes,
of
exactly. Just
the
all
inequity
of
of
the
pay to contribution.
difficulties
Yeah,
that
it
come with it. Yeah.
right, but to be able to keep in the foreground who you are and the difference you make and the deep level of satisfaction and have your that be in the foreground versus I have to remember that at the end of the day. Like it's just there for you. All those things are benefits of mindfulness and of meditation, of being just in the present moment.
I
Um,
think also just to tell, so like you touched on it as well with the idea that you tend to handle what life throws at you a little bit better. And that's the
oh
case with
yeah,
teaching too. Like teaching throws so much at you that you need to have this strong mindset in order to not take things personally, to be able to manage your time, to be able to work, with the kids, with the parents, with the administration. And meditation can help you to just be a bit calmer in the way that you're handling
yeah.
things.
Yeah, Dan Harris has a book called 10% Happier, and that's the title of it is fundamentally what he says the benefits of meditation have been for him. He's 10% happier. And, that's pretty good. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna, why not? Why turn it down? And because it takes 10 minutes a day. That's you asked how long.
Yes.
The science is 10 minutes a day is sufficient. You can do longer. You can do, 2 5-minute stints. You could do 5 2-minute stints. You could break it up any way you want, but about 10 minutes a day is sufficient. And so people, when I train, when people come or don't come to me, often the reason is I don't have time to do that. Right.
Hmm.
And so there's a couple of, so first of all, let's just take a breath. You're telling me you're committed to living a life where you don't have 10 minutes to do this. You,
Yeah.
you, you can't be that because you spend more than that scrolling. There's just
Yeah.
no way you're going to tell me you don't have 10 minutes. Or go ahead and tell me you don't have 10 minutes and then at least then say, I am living a life where I do not have 10 minutes to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And then go live that life. Not go ahead. I mean,
That's
you,
it. You're
you get
making
to
choices for yourself, right?
you get to keep any limitation you argue for, and that if you that's the argument you want to make, Godspeed, son. So it's 10 minutes. And so it's totally doable. Now, the thing that really messes people up, I think this is the biggest thing. It's not the 10 minutes. It's the starting. First of all, it's the breaking away from the scrolling because I have to do this all the time. I'll sit for my practice and I'll be like, okay, just a little bit more,
Yeah.
just two more posts, just one. Oh, let me send this, and the conscious break from the mindlessness to, okay, I'm going to do this now. It's really fundamentally no different than the break it takes to go to the gym
Yeah.
or the break it takes to, turn down the cookie. It's whatever break the human brain needs to make a choice for a future versus the present.
Yeah. Yeah. I went straight in
Um,
the morning. I was like, I knew that if I could do it in the morning, it started becoming part of my routine
yes,
before any other things attacked my
right.
brain.
Super smart.
And yeah, and I just also feel, that's also when, and once I was able to really do it properly, because it takes time.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, that is also when I started to get ideas, it's like things start to come to you that you can work with to almost help improve your life and move forward in a
Totally.
become more successful,
Yeah.
more profitable, whatever job you're doing.
Totally. All right. So there's the benefit. The one can we come back to the benefit? Remind me
Yeah,
because
for
that's
sure.
super really important. But the thing about doing it first thing in the morning, um, if that were like that's how I am about going to the gym. If I don't go to the gym first thing in the morning, I don't go. Like if
Yeah.
I just won't stop my day at 5 p.m. and go work out in the evening. I just won't. So I don't. I make sure that I do it in the morning. But meditation, I'm different about that. Especially because some days I go to the gym and now my morning is I'm not going to get up earlier and do it. I could, but I'm not going to. So I do it some other time. So it's important to know that there's no right way to do it. And
Yeah.
some people are, if I don't do it in the morning, I'm not going to do it. Good, then do it in the morning. And some people are, I'm just going to find 10 minutes to fit it in. And then you find 10 minutes to fit it in, and whatever's
Yep.
going to work for you. It's sort of the problem. It's one of the problems with the apps. There's a lot of meditation apps. And one of the problems is the gamification of it, every day.
Right.
As soon as you break a streak, for some people, the streak is enough to get them to do it. And for some people, breaking the streak is enough to have them fail. And now I'm not going to do it again.
Okay. I've never used the apps. I didn't think of that, but that makes sense
Yeah.
because we're driven by that dopamine hit of the
Yeah.
streak, right? I've just always used YouTube videos or
Yeah.
Shopify. It's like Spotify or something.
Yeah. Which is great. And if the gamification works for you, like I know my wife is on Duolingo.
Mm.
And if she breaks a streak, it's like, well, I'm done. It
Yes.
takes her a month to get back on because it's so disempowering that it
Yes.
broke her streak. So it's one size doesn't need to fit all. You can find a way to do it that works. And I think it's really useful to get a teacher to do it. And there are places to learn meditation for free in every city on the planet. Like have a teacher to do it. My cohorts are free, and I do them online, and it's really really common for them to be free. And it works because in the beginning, especially if you're going to do it off YouTube or do it off Spotify or do it on from one of the apps, you want to find a way. You're a coach, so you already know this, Marissa, but a coach can see things about you that you can't see. That's what a coach's utility is, right? They see things that
Right.
you can't see, and they're there to provide the framework, the container, and the accountability to do the thing that you wouldn't do by yourself, that you couldn't see to do, and that you wouldn't do by yourself. So you get a coach.
Right.
Um, And so it's useful to have a teacher to get started until you're reliable to do it on your own. That's why the churn on those apps is about 90% because it that the noise in people's heads is generally so loud and so um, disconcerting and difficult to
Yes.
be that it's really useful to have a teacher tell you over and over and over and over and over, you're doing it right. You're not doing this is fine. It's just really useful for in my experience for people to have that. Um, then we can talk about the benefits. We go back and talk about that benefit,
Yeah.
unless you have a question.
No,
Unless you
no,
had a
I
question.
was, let's talk about some of the benefits. And then I'll go into, I want to touch on what you said about just the noise in people's heads, right?
Yeah,
That's what stops a lot of people is
yeah,
that they can't seem to quiet that noise. No, let's talk about the benefits and just quickly, what are some of the apps? Since I know Headspace and I know Calm. Are there any other apps you would recommend people to
yeah.
try
Dan,
before we?
I forget Dan. I think it's called Wake Up, maybe. Um, that's one. There's an app called Insight Timer.
Okay.
That's the app I use. It has a great timer on it with a good Tibetan bell, which I like.
Oh yes,
Ding.
I know
So
the
it's I
bell.
just use it for the timer part. But there's a ton of meditations, teachers on there. My meditations are on there. There's a free version and a paid version. Uh, the free version is completely acceptable. You don't need to upgrade. Um, and then there's a million YouTube videos and there's a
Yeah.
million channels on Spotify. And I think they're great once you get a habit, once you get started with it, it's really, really useful. Let me just talk about the pitfall again about the noise in your head, then we'll go back to that
Sure.
benefit about seeing new things. Because the way I look at it is this. First of all, the myth about meditation or the misconception about meditation is it's about clearing your mind. It's about emptying your mind. It's about sitting with no thoughts. Ah, like
Yeah.
that, right? You're cross-legged on the floor,
Yeah.
hours at a time, and you're not going to have any thoughts. So first of
Yeah.
all, if that's the expectation, you're going to be wickedly
Yeah.
disappointed, right? And
Right.
you're going to think you're doing it wrong. You're going to think you're doing it wrong because your mind isn't empty.
Yep.
And you have an expectation that your mind is going to get empty. And I need people to know that is not what's going to happen, nor is it the point of it. It is not the intention of it. It's not ever going to happen for you. The Dalai Lama doesn't have an empty mind when he sits and meditates. It's not what meditation is. And you can't take that out of the space enough because people really are that meditation is. But it's sort of like, if in the 60s, if you saw someone running, you would think they were being chased because there was no frame for cardiovascular health to be improved by running. Or in the 70s or 80s, if you were lifting weights, you would be out to look like Schwarzenegger
Yes.
because there was no frame for resistance training as an access for everyone to just improve their general well-being. Yoga, same thing. Yoga for years, forever was hippies and gurus. And
Yes, yes. And
then,
you're going to like balance on your head and do,
yeah, and
yeah,
now every
yeah.
street corner has a yoga
Yeah.
studio. So meditation just needs to be the framing of it needs to be upgraded into what it is, which is training your brain. You're training your brain. And how you're training your brain is so the metaphor that I like for this is, do you ever train a puppy?
Yes.
You you put a puppy in a box, and the puppy's job is to get out of the box. That's the puppy's job. But puppy wants to get out of the box, and then you pick the puppy up once it gets out of the box, and you put it back in the box. And you're scruff it, and you're nice with it's a puppy. You're super cute with it. You love it. You don't yell at it. You don't correct it. You don't like. "Arr." You just pick it up and you put it back in the box. And you can't, in fact, train it unless it tries to get out of the box. You can only train something to do the thing when it does the thing you don't want it to do, and then
Right.
right. So you can get it to. Now you put it back in the box. And eventually you get a really well-trained dog. Eventually you get, fetch with you, play with you, sit at your legs. And frankly, you get your best friend,
Yeah, that's true.
right? A well-trained dog is your best friend. Now, I don't know a lot of adults that consider their brain to be their best friend because they
Wow.
haven't trained their brain. They have a squirrel in a feral dog in their head, and
Yeah.
it's just running around chasing squirrels. And so meditation is training your brain from chasing squirrels, from getting out of the box. So you sit, and a really basic meditation is just a breath meditation, and you just watch your breath. You take one breath in and then out, and then you notice that you're making a list, and you go, okay, come back to the breath. You take that thought, you leave the thought where it is, you bring your awareness back to your breath. You put the awareness back in the box. Take another breath, and then next thing you know, you're 3 minutes into an argument that you had with that idiot online 4 days ago. Okay, now you notice it 3 minutes in after you know what you should have said 3 days ago. You notice that. You smile at it, and you bring your awareness back to your breath. And then you take another breath, and now you're chasing, I can't believe that kid said that to me. And then you come back to the breath. And you're constantly
Coming, yeah, going out, coming
coming
back.
back
It's
to the
almost like
breath.
the thoughts, you just like letting them float
You
by.
just they just eventually they just float by, and you don't get hooked to them. Eventually you train your brain the way you train your dog to stay in the box. Your mind will eventually, but it won't ever just, you're not getting to the point where it's not going to wander. The fact that your mind wanders isn't a problem. It's the
Hmm.
training, it's the bicep curl. It's the weight you're lifting in training your brain is that you notice it without judgment and you come back to the present. You come, and the entire practice. You're training your brain like you train your muscles or you would train a dog. And you do it with loving kindness and no judgment.
Yeah.
And that is the part that makes people crazy in the beginning because they think they're supposed to not chase thoughts. No, no. You're going to. The job is to notice it.
Yes. And the
Oh, there I
breathing.
am.
I think the
And then
breathing
come
is
back to the
also
breath.
important, right? Like having
Yeah.
that. What are your thoughts on guided meditations?
I think they're awesome at the beginning. I mean, I lead guided
Yeah.
meditations for beginning meditators. And when now, I mean, I've been doing it now for a long time and I don't use a guided meditation very often, but you use them until you're done with them.
Yeah, I
And,
used them for
and
many years before I was able to start with just music or,
yeah,
a bell, like you said. So no shame in
yeah.
trying the guided meditations to
And
start.
not even no shame in trying them. Start with them. And like you
Yeah,
said, years. And you have, even when I started at 20, I had 20 years of an untrained brain.
yeah,
If you think it's going to take less than 20 years to train your brain at that point, then you're insane. It's like, where did you get that from? That's not the way that works. And the design of the brain, the way we are, and this is now neuroscience is everything that we're talking about is backed with 70 years and thousands of case studies and thousands of MRIs and fMRIs. And the science is perfectly clear that over time you are growing your amygdala, you're growing the
yep,
activity in your sorry, you're not in your amygdala, in your prefrontal cortex, you're increasing the activity in your rational, reasonable reasoning center of your brain, and you're thinning the activity in your amygdala, your fight, flight, or freeze is thinning, is slowing down. So you're physically changing your brain the way you change your muscles by working out. It is a physical phenomenon. Again, it's not try this and see.
yeah,
It's do this and get these results. But you got to stick with it the way you would have to stick with anything. It's not overnight, and it's why the mindset coaches and people don't tell you how to get a powerful mindset, a useful mindset, an empowering mindset, is because the way to get it is slow and it's boring and it's hard. And it's very difficult to sell slow, boring, hard things. No one wants a
yes.
slow, boring, hard thing.
People like
They want a pill.
a quick fix.
I want a quick fix. And there is no, and in fact, the desire for a quick fix is the thing you're trying to lose, is the thing that's keeping you from being satisfied in the moment, is that you think there's something to fix. But if you just let it all go, you could be completely satisfied in this moment with the way things are and be more effective to create something else.
Yeah.
People also think that if I was completely satisfied with the way things are, then I wouldn't have any motivation or any drive left to make any improvements. And that's not true, or
I,
it's not
I
necessarily true.
Not necessarily, but for most people, like when you're satisfied, you actually have more drive to go and help more people. And you start thinking
Absolutely.
about how can I help more people? What can I do? Like you actually, that's definitely been my experience.
Absolutely. And then so now we get back to the benefits because that thing you said about seeing more actions to take and
Mm,
getting new ideas about your business is exactly the way meditation improves business minds and it improves the quality of life because and this is sort of an anti-woo-woo approach to this conversation and I'm as woo-woo as you wanted to get. We could go down we could go deep into the woo-woo woods if you wanted. I have
okay,
a
we'll
big
keep it. Yeah, we'll keep it low
right.
woo
But
this
but so
time.
there's the only thing that produces result is action.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that you're going to produce results with is acting. Fine. No problem. Completely fact. As far as I'm concerned, that's like gravity. Okay. The only thing that produces results is action. And the only thing you can act on is what you see there is to act on. You act on the things you see to act on. You can't act on anything you don't see to act on. It you that's the way that works, right? You can and period. So if you could only thing produces result is action. The only thing you can act on is what you see to act on. And if you want new results, you need to take different actions.
Yep.
Like, no one's arguing with any of those three statements. Good. So if all those things are true, then for you to take a new action, you need to see something you haven't seen before.
Yep.
You have to see something new or see something newly.
Yeah, I think
That's what
that's it.
meditation
Yes,
is.
exactly. It can be new or it can be something that's already there, but like you're seeing something to add on to it or to change about it or to create with it. Yeah.
You see it newly. You're like, oh, and that's what meditation is. First of all, it's what it is and it's what it's for.
Yeah.
So, and people think meditation is only this eyes closed, breathing, whatever thing that we
Yeah.
just talked about. But
My best
meditation could,
ideas show up.
but it could look like I'm sitting at my morning, I'm sitting at my breakfast table or my kitchen table in the morning with my cup of coffee, and there's no music, no phone, no TV, just me, and I'm feeling the weight of the coffee cup in my hand, and I'm noticing the steam rise off it, and I'm looking at the oil on the surface, and I see the way the light catches the steam and the warmth and I take 10 minutes and I just am fully in the presence of this cup of coffee. That's meditation. That's
Yeah.
meditating. That's a 10-minute meditation on my coffee. You're going to drink the coffee anyway.
Exactly.
Get
It's
present to it.
it's like a walking meditation, which is
It's
also a
exactly like a
thing,
walking
right? Where
meditation.
you're
Yeah.
present with the moment. You're not allowing other thoughts are not, you're just letting them float by.
Let
You're
it float
present
by.
with nature and what's around you and just being in that moment. That's why they call it a walking meditation.
That's right. You're just actually, and you're observing and you're looking, one of the mindfulness practices. And I'm a little bit collapsing meditation and mindfulness. And some people may argue with me that that's more of a mindful practice than a meditative practice. Fine. I, I'm good. You can win that argument. But there's a practice of find three new things. Look for three new things in your environment. That would be a mindful practice. Is
Yeah.
what when I brush my teeth, the practice is find something about my face that I didn't notice yesterday.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like I'm brushing my teeth anyway. Like really look, start to and then so that's training your brain the way you train a puppy. So training your brain, that's training your brain. And then what you said, Marissa, I thought was so smart and so insightful is that other thoughts begin to show up. And this then begins to get a little bit woo-woo, but this is also backed by neuroscience. So, we'll talk about it any way you want. But, there is on there's a unified field of intelligence,
Hmm.
of all possible intelligence that exists, and we tap into whatever we tap into about it. And you have an intuitive sense, everyone does an intuitive sense of whatever you have an intuitive sense about, but you can thin that veil. You can tap into that more by training your brain. You
Yep.
absolutely can. And by tuning into it intentionally. And practices in that regard are sort of like, I get this hit, I should take out that trash, or, before I leave the house, or, did I bring my headset? I don't need my headset. I'm just going to get in the car. But hearing it, I should bring my headset, or it's going to be cold. This just happened to me the other day. I was like, am I going to be cold? No, I'm not going to be cold. And I was like, damn it. I thought I should bring a jacket, right? Like that. You ever have that thought like, damn it, I thought of this and then
Yes.
I said no and I didn't do it. Good. Practice honoring that thought. Just practice honoring the thought before the negative, I don't need it comes up. No, I don't have time to empty that trash. You know, and I realize it's a little bit like you may never get out of the house, right? You may have this endless sea of thoughts of things you could handle. I mean, but just start practicing honoring that little voice that tells you whatever it's telling you about the future. Start honoring it just in the stupidest little ways. And I promise it gets louder
Yep.
and it tells you more about more things. and more opportunities will open up because that's the way life works. You are life expressing itself.
Something as simple as maybe taking, like remembering to take out the trash. So let's say that stopped you from leaving the house. Like you left the house now 2 minutes later than you would have left the house. And it's the whole concept of, and thus you avoided a major accident on the road.
Right, who
You
knows?
don't know what you don't
You
know.
don't know any of it.
Yes.
Right.
And so, like, I've gotten intuitions when I'm meditating, like, oh, just like someone's name will pop into my head. It's like, oh, I should call that person or just like can touch base with them. So the smallest thing can come in while you're thinking. Honor that thought. I know exactly what you're saying. Like,
It's
it's
really
not
that's a really
accidental.
That's right. That's right. That's a really good access to it too, right? You think I have taken on if I think of someone, I if I think I should call someone, I just stop and call them. Just call, and I don't have anything to say particularly, but it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I was just thinking about you and I just wanted to call. That voice will keep getting more, will get louder, will give you more access. It's tapping into something, and the quieter you get the noise,
Yeah.
which will happen as you train your brain. The squirrelness of it all will
Yep.
quiet down, and your intuitive voice will
Get louder.
relatively increase,
Yes,
and you'll have more access to. You'll see new things, which will allow you to take new actions, which will allow you to take new results.
exactly.
Period.
New
That's
ideas,
the
new thoughts, right? Like, and some people I know will have a pen and paper even beside them. So whatever
great
comes
idea.
up when you're done with the meditation, you just kind of write it down. And you don't have to
Yep.
act on it right then and there, but like just know that there's a reason that voice got louder, right? And came in and put that in your head.
Yeah, just yeah, I like honoring it. And then I have I will often stop my meditation in the middle because I'll have a thought and I know I will forget it if
Yeah.
I don't. And so I do a lot of voice memo to AI, like just right into my, so then and then I save it. I don't interact with it,
Oh,
but then
like do you voice into your phone right away when
yeah, voice it to my
in the
phone right
middle of
away.
your, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just stop and
Okay, well that's good to
again,
know. That's people, it's important to know that too. Like that there's no rules,
yeah,
right? Like stop
there's
and
no,
say
here's the
something.
thing that really messes people up. This is the most complicated, this is the hardest hurdle. And I have I have some thoughts about why, but it is really the highest hurdle for people is there is no way to do it wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it wrong, especially this is really hard for teachers because you're teaching things the right way. You're teaching the people the right way to do things, except maybe not. I think it's more empowered. There's no wrong way to meditate for sure, right? Anything you're doing is, even if you don't meditate today and you just thought about meditating, great. That has some
Yeah.
mindfulness in it. Just the thought of it, good.
The start.
Celebrate it all.
Yeah.
When you learned how to walk, learning how to walk is a really good example too, because when you learn how to walk or when you teach someone how to walk, every time that person stands up, that little toddler stands up on their little chubby little legs, and they even fall forward, you cheer.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time they fall forward, you cheered. Every time you fell forward, someone cheered for you.
Yeah.
Every time you fell backwards, someone cheered for you. They just cheer. Every attempt is met with success, and none of it is critiqued. There's no feedback there's no constructive criticism, and there's no way that they're going to fail. There's no way your child is going to fail to walk. You're not going to, it's not, no one's like, oh, I'm not a walker. It doesn't happen. There's nothing but the celebration of the attempt. And adults don't have that grace for themselves when they're learning something new. And in education, there's, that the teacher's expectation of the student immensely impacts the student's performance.
Oh,
Study after study
definitely.
shows that. expectation of the teacher, and what the student's experience of the expectation of the teacher is. And when you learned how to walk, you were clear the expectation of the teacher was that you were going to walk and everything was going to be celebrated and you couldn't do it wrong.
Yep. But now we're so hard on ourselves too that if
We're
we fail at
so hard on
something,
ourselves.
we can't get back to being like, okay, what have I learned from this? Or what is the lesson here? Like, okay, well, how can I try it differently? Right? We're just like, oh,
And
we talk negatively to ourselves and that actually leads me. I was really curious as well with regards because you said that you taught this to your real estate kind of employees, I guess, right?
yes,
And
well, sales team, yeah.
yeah, their sales team, and it increased their productivity, their sales. So what? Why do you think that happened? So was it just a case of you taught them to kind of add meditation into their daily routine, or was it a little more than that?
No, it was just meditation. Here's why. Because I have this great little metaphor. You know what these are?
No.
It's a Chinese finger cuffs. You never seen these?
Okay, just for the
Little,
listener. So Aaron has
oh, so
it's
I
like
have
a
Chinese
tube,
finger
like
cuffs.
explain it.
Google, yeah, if you Google Chinese finger cuffs, this will come up. This is
Chinese
not,
finger
I'm not
cups.
making
Okay,
this
got
up.
it. Yeah. So he's
Chinese
got his
finger, and
finger
it's
inside
not,
two sides of the tube,
you,
kind of.
yeah, right. It's a little, like a straw tube. And you put your fingers in it, and the more you pull, the tighter it gets.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't get out
I
because you're
got
pulling
you.
against it. The only way out is to relax. And as soon as you relax, you can get out.
Oh,
And
interesting.
our normal approach to life is to resist life, is to struggle against it. So in sales, the resistance is to the no, is to I'm going to fail, is this isn't going right. I can't do this. What's my problem? All the way we resist the situation, all the things we need to get. I need to get out. I need to get out. The more we struggle, the tighter it gets.
Right.
It's a really good metaphor for life. Except if you just relax, it'll just come right off.
Yeah. It's just
And
can solve anything.
yeah, so really, but telling people just relax does not work. You
No.
cannot tell people to relax, but you can train them to have a brain that slows down. The Buddhists and the Navy SEALs in the US, Navy SEALs and the Buddhists all have the same expression or same communication to deliver. And I always think it's interesting when you get groups that are that far apart, diametrically opposed in their view of life, say the same thing. And what they say is you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your preparation.
Ah, interesting.
So you see, in sports, clutch performances. But those people or anyone who thinks I work better under pressure, that's nonsense. It's total nonsense. No one works better when they're chaotic, frantic, upset than they do when they're calm, centered, and grounded. Nobody works better when they're that way. But the experience is only that the clutch performer performs better than the performers around them
Right.
under those circumstances. That you could say, I work better than other people when things get crazy. Why? Because my floor is higher. I have prepared my brain. You know, basketball is Steph Curry or Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or any sports player that you want to choose, they get in the zone. They have practiced that shot. They have
Yeah.
practiced their craft. They have prepared their brain. So when things get crazy, their floor that they sink to is higher than anybody's. They can rely on that they're not going to sink. They're going to sink to their, that's why they were such mad people about preparation, about practice. Meditation is the preparation for your brain. So when things get crazy, and they do in sales all the time,
Right.
all kinds of craziness, all kinds of uh, outcomes you don't want, and things you would rather avoid, and things like that. My floor is higher because I've prepared my brain. Dancers prepare their body and can do things with their body that I can't do, but they've prepared their body, they've exercised it, they have muscle control, and they do things that I can't
Teaching
do
is like that too, because it's like unexpected things happen to you every day. So by
every day.
training your brain, you're more prepared to deal with the situation, to recognize, okay, well, what's in my control here? Like, I have to stay calm. And I think staying calm is a big one because
Yeah,
it's
you
so
just
easy to react, but staying calm is actually your superpower.
it
And
is. And you can't tell someone to calm down. They
no,
just have, but you can train your brain. And it's not even you're training your brain to be calm. Just the meditation, just doing that breath work, just doing that for 10 minutes a day will leave you more responsive and less reactive. That's what it's doing, physically changing your brain to become more responsive. You don't need to think about it. It'll just be there for you when you do it because you will have prepared. It'll be second nature. It'll just be there to be expressed when the time comes. A little bit of was it the Karate Kid? Wax on, wax
yes,
off, right? It'll just be there, right? Because
yes.
you will have practiced it. That's a
You
really
have
good. That's
trained your
another
brain.
good.
You've be made it a habit, made it part of
It,
your identity, right? You're someone who, meditates, who sits in silence for 10 minutes a
right.
day, right?
And yeah. So there's all kind. That's the advantage of having someone teach it with you or be there with you is that someone can encourage you through those, while you wobble and fall and want to quit because
Yes.
that's, there's definitely a learning curve and it's sometimes it's really easy and good in the beginning and then it gets harder again. There's a James Clear in Atomic Habit calls it the valley of despair in the learning of a new skill. That things start to get really good and then it gets really hard for a while before things hockey stick back
Yes,
up.
that's it. Just keep going. I mean,
And you've got
that's
to keep and having a teacher versus an app is useful like that.
okay.
Um, but those are the that's really the whole story about it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Just to finish off today, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your book and yeah,
Mhm.
because I was mentioning it earlier in my introduction, but how to live a grateful life in an effed up world. And yeah, maybe a little bit just about what it's
Yeah.
about and yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's so I was talking about Dan Harris's 10% Happier book about his experience of meditation, or even Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Like those, there's plenty of books out there about the benefits of meditation, of mindfulness, of not giving an F, of that. Plenty of books like that, but I didn't find a lot of books that were like the recipe. Take these steps,
Right.
do these things. Here's the path. We're not going to talk about how good the food is. We're going to show you how to cook. And
Love
and
that.
the book really came from the that insight, that opening I had in that retreat where I then started to get trained in mindfulness, decided to get trained as a mindfulness instructor, and lost as soon as I lost my worry, as soon as that thing disappeared. I'm a New York Jew. That's my heritage. And New York Jews have a particular outlook on life, which is something like things are never so bad, they can't get worse. There's a genetic predisposition to
Okay.
worry. And so the worry disappearing for me was a really big deal. Like, what happened here? And I thought, I got to give this away. I got to train people. This is something worth training people in. So I took some time and put together this program and have been running cohorts of it for about a year and a half. About 400, 500 people have gone through it now. And I took the training itself and put it into a book, and the book will be released in this quarter of this year by June. Just going, I'm fighting with cover art at this point. And yeah, and it's called How to Live a Grateful Life in an Effed Up World. It's a 9-week practice to train your brain for clarity, peace, and presence. And it's step by step. It has a QR code, and you can download the meditations. It's a meditation training book.
Nice.
And so you read the book, the background, and then each week for 9 weeks, there's a new meditation to practice. And there's a guided meditation that I lead that you get access to with the book. Um, and yeah, and it's fairly reliable. And then for producing the kind of results that my team got, increased sales, real estate agents and salespeople get double their sales regularly with it. And just even if that's not your calling, if you're not a salesperson, you're a teacher or something, there are the kind of results that are consistent with that in your field, things that would surprisingly open up for you out of being present in life versus reactive. Because you ultimately do have a choice. You can have a feral dog in your head, or you could have your
Mm-hmm.
trained, you can have your best
Mm-hmm.
friend in your head, and it's 10 minutes a day.
Yes. And it's ultimately up to you. It's really
Totally up to
within,
you.
it's 100% within your control to make this happen.
100% within your control. And there's very, very tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of the population who have brain chemistry where meditation isn't useful. Um, but like 98%
Yeah.
meditation makes a difference. You're not in that percentile.
No, yeah, no, I agree. Well, Aaron, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful to just have had you on the show today because I know that this is going to be so useful to a lot of people who are listening, who have maybe been thinking about having a meditation or trying meditation or maybe retrying it if it hadn't worked in the past. And I feel like you've given those people some really great, to believe in themselves, that they can do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. And yeah, and good luck with everything. Good luck with the book, especially.
Yeah. Thanks. It's great. I appreciate you, Marissa. Thank you.
Okay. Did you love Aaron's energy and information and everything he was saying about meditation as much as I did? Because as I said in the interview, I can only tell you that meditation completely changed my life, especially as a teacher. Oh my gosh, I was so much calmer. So if this conversation resonated with you, here is what I want you to take away. You don't need a lot more time to do this, right? Even just waking up 10 minutes earlier, going to bed 10 minutes earlier, waking up 10 minutes earlier to start to make it a priority, to shift your identity into one that is, oh, I'm a meditator. Like that's what I do. Meditation is just part of my day. Right? You don't need to do it perfectly. You do not need to visit like an ashram in India and train with Buddhist monks in order to be meditating every day. Meditating is just breathing and calming the mind. And like I did, go with visualization meditations, guided meditations. I did that for years before I was able to actually create, like actually just sit with music or something like that. And most importantly, right, you, you just need to start. You just need to make it a thing that you want to start. So maybe that looks like one deep breath before your next lesson. Maybe, like Aaron said, it looks like just sitting and being present with your cup of coffee. Maybe it looks like walking in nature and saying what you're grateful for. Maybe it's just saying to yourself, okay, I'm here. This is my moment to just be present. That is where it starts. And I want to thank Aaron because I love that he shared so much wisdom about his story and how to make this possible. And to you, my wonderful listeners, if this episode helped you, please share it with a teacher or anybody in your life who might need it. Because the more supported we feel, the better we show up for ourselves, for our students, for our family. Did I say for ourselves? Because for ourselves, that is very important. And if you have decided that this is the year that you are focusing on you, then please message me because as a mindset coach for teachers, helping teachers step into that next chapter when they get to actually focus on what they want and like watching them succeed, because sometimes it just takes a little bit of talking things out and guidance. That is literally my greatest joy. So please, please, please call me. All right, sending you all the love, and I will see you in the next episode.